Introducing the all-terrain cane.
A super strong, super lightweight mobility cane designed by a blind person, primarily for the hiking trails of Sedona. With RP really taking its toll on my vision, I had to find a tool to keep me on the trails. So ultimately, I had to take some off-the-shelf hiking products and developed what we have today as the Mark III version of the all-terrain cane. On the trails, I needed a unique grip. The handle grip is extendable. With a flip lock, I can extend the handle a good 10 inches. Structurally, the cane itself is very, very strong, and I know it's going to support anybody on the trails. This cane will get you onto the beaches, not in a tippy-tappy, gingerly, I hope I get to the water safely sort of way. I come up with this idea, put the word blind on a shirt so people can see that I might not be able to identify that they're approaching me. Just gives us a little bit of visibility out on the streets and on the trails. Our website is AWareWolfGear.com.
Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson.
And I'm Pete Lane. With us this morning is Dave Epstein. Dave is the founder of AwareWolfGear.com, home of the all-terrain cane, which is why we're here to talk to Dave. Dave, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Pete. Doing awesome this morning. How are you all?
I'm fine.
I'm doing great. It's really exciting to hear about this all-terrain cane. I had someone reach out to me and talk about hiking and all that stuff, and all of a sudden this came up too, and I thought, maybe I should connect these two together. But let's first get them on the show here. So, Dave, could you tell us a little bit about the ATC, the all-terrain cane?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you so much. The all-terrain cane is a super strong yet super lightweight mobility cane designed by a blind person, that'd be me with RP, for the blind community to take us where we want to be. The cane itself is designed primarily for the hiking trails of Sedona, which is where I needed that extra support. Designed selfishly by me, I needed to stay on the trails. With RP really taking its toll on my vision, I had to do something, find a tool to keep me on the trails. I realized I needed support, stability, balance, a device to hold my weight, and there was nothing available. So ultimately, I had to take some tools, off-the-shelf hiking products, and developed what we have today as the Mark III version of the all-terrain cane.
So this is not the first iteration.
No. Interesting story. The development of the cane itself came in about 3 different prototypes. One built on the next to eliminate problems the blind user would have with a trekking pole or hiking cane. The blind people, I've discovered, we don't like change. Change one thing that we're not used to, we'll dig our heels in. Change 2 things, and I believe we'll just throw that item over our shoulders. So when I started with the first version of the all-terrain cane, it was very effective. It was lightweight, it was strong. It allowed me to hike the trails without looking at my feet, which in itself was a huge coup. But the first version had problems that I, as a blind person, needed to overcome. It didn't look like a mobility cane. And the way the sections extended posed problems. We couldn't see the shaft, the numbers, the length that we're extending the cane to. And if we extended too far, the sections would pull apart. A lot of problems. Moved into the Mark II version that was stronger with a different set of locking mechanisms, and yet we still had problems. It didn't look right, and it really didn't operate the way we wanted. We're used to a certain type of cane that unfolds a certain way that we can do it with our eyes closed, as well as folding. So I needed to solve these problems. On the trails, I needed a unique grip, not just a 9-inch grip that we're used to on our canes, but I needed more. Since I tend to choke up when I'm hiking, ascending and descending, I need a positive grip. So yet another hurdle to conquer. Ultimately, the Mark III version, it's got a 16-inch handle grip. So I'm able to choke up a good 16 inches when needed. The shaft itself I say it's super strong. It's made of titanium, a grade 9 titanium alloy that honestly, I don't know what the loading is. An aluminum cane, I can load 300 pounds vertically. Titanium, I'm sure it's off the charts. So structurally, the cane itself is very, very strong. And I know it's going to support anybody on the trails. I've got the prototype in my hand. And as I'm looking at it and going down the shaft, identifying what's different. What's different about this cane over our fiberglass street canes? The joints, the stainless steel. Okay, super strong joints. It is white reflective and red reflective. So it looks like a cane. That's very, very important to us. On the trails, if I have just a black trekking pole, they don't see it as a cane. So it's got to look the part. The 16-inch handle that I'm really proud of is mounted on the third section of cane. What does that mean? The handle grip is extendable. With a flip lock, I can extend the handle a good 10 inches, which makes this cane flexible in length. The shortest length is about 51 inches. Extend the handle, and now you've got a 61-inch cane that can be adapted to our younger blind athletes, the older, taller ones. It's adaptable to everyone who needs a cane for all terrains. And that's where this is going to excel. Not just on the trails of Sedona, beaches, the Grand Dude's playground, snowy environments. Well, I'm sure where you all live, you get some snow. Coming from New England, a lot of snow and ice. So wherever we need a strong cane that can get it done, that can smash into the rocks and roots and water bars and ledge and ice, it's not going to break. And it's not going to bend in car doors. It's here for the duration. And I think the world needs a cane that can handle all conditions.
Dave, I'm in Florida. I've got trails, of course, but they are not elevated trails where I'm heading up a scaled trail. Most of Florida is flat. My primary use for a cane is traditional use, sidewalk use, maybe into the edge of the street flat usage. I use predominantly the golf grip on the handle. So describe this cane from my perspective. Sounds like you're talking to athletes, to trail walkers. How would you describe that tool from my perspective and others who use the cane typically on a sidewalk?
Sure. Great question. You mentioned that down in Florida, you get to the edge of the sidewalk and then there's the beach and the water. That's where your journey seems to end. This cane will get you onto the beaches, not in a tippy-tappy, gingerly, I hope I get to the water safely sort of way. We've got a Grand Dude up in Rhode Island, and we take him to the beaches all the time during the summers. My experience on the beach is one of extreme success. That is, I get to walk with the little dude down to the water, along the shoreline, into the rocks, and I can successfully ambulate on the very uneven, rough surfaces of the beach safely and confidently. That is, I can detect the holes in the ground where the other dudes dig their holes and build the sandcastles without having to use a two-tap system. I can drag the tip across the sand and really get a feel for the topography that I'm walking on without concern of sand or salt water getting into and ruining the gears, the ball tip, or the joints. It's made for the rough terrain. So this cane will allow you to ambulate to the beach and onto the beach. And then when you're through the beach, it'll get you back to your car or house. It looks and performs like a cane on all environments.
So when you want to jump off the pavement and jump into the all-terrain,
yes.
There you go. You have something. Because I've been on the beach before with a cane and it kind of sticks. It's like you're picking up litter or something like that because you're sticking and it's moving along, where this with a ball tip on it would kind of glide more and give you that sensation that it's rolly, it's a hole,
Exactly.
Here's a little lip or something, or you'll be able to try the cane in certain ways that, it might take a little bit to get used to, but it's durable enough that if it does get into the sand or find an obstacle, that it's not just going to snap. I like that you said a car door is not going to, a big car door maybe, but it's made to withstand.
Yes, absolutely correct. And you bring up a number of really good points. When I was working on the prototypes, the first day and second, I went through an enormous number of different kinds of tips. What's going to work the best on all terrains? I tried Oh my goodness. The Dakota disc, the shark wheel, there were bulldog tips and marshmallows, rolling marshmallows. I went through the gamut. What I found was that the 2-inch rolling ball really did excel on all environments. It tends to skim and float over the sand. And when I get onto the trails, the ball will announce where the center of the trail really is. On the sides, we tend to have gravel. The trail itself is either a sand or a ledge. So I've got both sound and haptic feedback from the tips. Also, when I'm descending, and I use the cane vertically and vertically load, and I can hear the O&M instructor sound like, oh, you're not supposed to vertically load. Well, I'm shattering paradigms by saying, yes, I need to. And here's where that 2-inch rolling ball also excels. It doesn't skid out. It supports and it does its job. So no matter what I'm doing on the trails, that rolling ball will meet my needs. I'm manufacturing our own rolling balls. They're going to be coming in 4 different colors. We're going to have white, yellow, there's a really sharp red orange, and a sherbet pink. Doesn't have to be white. And I figure let's bling it up a little bit for the younger athletes. For anybody who wants to do a little bit of customizing, why not?
Those are the balls you're talking about, the
Yes.
colors? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the shaft and the body of the cane? Is that just predominantly white with your red highlights?
Exactly. And that was a process as well. Seeing as I wanted to really overbuild this cane, my vision was to have a very durable powder-coated surface that just won't mar or scratch or ding and look great forever. Wasn't reflective enough. And to me, performance is much, much more important. I said, you know what? Powder coating is fine, but I need more. I need 100% reflectivity. So we went with a bright reflective wrap. And yes, to every untrained eye, it looks like a mobility cane. The only difference in look is that the handle grip is a little bit longer. And other than that, it looks like a cane, which is important not only for the patent. The patent dictates as a design patent, it has to look like this to perform. And on the trails, somebody will identify a red and white stick as, maybe he can't see after all. So the look itself is very important. And I'm ecstatic that we were able to come up with that red and white, highly reflective finish.
That's really cool. I'm glad that you said powder coated because that's a really good protection for it as well. And when you mentioned that it doesn't skid out on you, I've used like at conferences or in Washington, D.C., you get a lot of floors that are just basically well-polished floors. And if you're pencil gripping, you're not putting load on it. You even notice that it can skid out on you a little bit as soon as you put pressure on it a little bit. So those tips probably wouldn't work. I'm glad you did that. So it really shows that you have experience and gone through some iterations here to really make the best all-terrain cane possible.
Oh, thank you. And yes, again, I didn't develop this I developed this for me. As I went through the various iterations, I thought, what do I need? What do I need? Until I went to the beach with a grand dude and I was like, wait a minute, what do we need? And when I took the focus off of me, selfish me, and put it onto the rest of the blind community, I realized, you know what? This is good for everybody. So that gave me the impetus to really step it up and make it right. Make it right for everybody, for all countries, for everybody, wherever they're going to be using it. So yeah, that was the decision to go from good to great.
How can people find out more about the all-terrain cane?
Sure. Our website is AwareWolfGear.com, and that's AWareWolfGear.com. And that can take you to obviously the website. And if you want to put a /ATC, you certainly can. And that'll take you to our landing page where we've got all sorts of information, specifications. We are right now open for pre-orders. The canes are being produced as we speak. And our vision is for them to be available for holiday season 22 in a few days.
Cool.
Hey everyone, Sedona Dave here. Today is Friday, 14th, 2022, and I've got some breaking news about the unbreakable all-terrain cane.
Dave, in the YouTube video I caught, you said another prototype has just gone through the crash test.
Crash tested it. It's good. It's here. We're going to production.
Crash testing.
Yeah. So tell us, what is that crash test? Who crash tested it? Were there formal rigors through which your testers took the cane, that kind of a thing? Tell us about what tests and how it performed.
Sure. Well, I get to play crash test dummy for all these prototypes, and I don't wrap myself in bubble wrap or anything. I just honestly, I take it out into the backcountry and beat it up. Beat myself up in the process. I'm chuckling because really what I have in our trail system here in Sedona are cactus and dead trees. And that was the impetus for me to make something strong enough to be able to lean on, because there is nothing out there. But when I do go out and crash test, it's just a matter of smashing it around ridiculously, hoping no other tourists see what I'm up to out in the backcountry. But whatever it takes, lean on it, bend it, overexert it.
I can see the tourists right now. Look, Marge, it's that blind guy again.
I get some interesting comments from backcountry, but all of them are positive. Thanks for mentioning that, because they really are all positive. And I don't hike for accolade. I hike because that's where I want to be. I used to be a wildland firefighter. I want to be outside on the trails. And when I hear comments of good on you, or, hey, awesome blind dude coming up the trail, or anything like that, it feels good. It feels like I get to be part of society still, and take the word blind out of it. And some guys just calling up trail, hey, there's a cool guy coming on up to see us. It keeps me in the game.
You know, your name, AwareWolfGear.com. That's a website, but AwareWolf. I really like that. At first, I didn't get what it meant. And then when I actually sounded it out and spelled it out, it was like, you got the word awareness kind of in there, and you have gear, and where'd the wolf come from?
Awesome question. I'll tell you the story of that question, and then I'm going to backtrack just a little bit to paint a picture of how this all came together, including the name AwareWolf Gear. Okay, I'm an RP, retinitis pigmentosa. And for anybody who's not yet painfully familiar with this condition, I've lost peripheral vision, dark adaptation, and at night I'm blind at night, down to about 5 degrees central vision during the day. So what does this mean? Every day it's going to get dark. And I know this, for the past 20,000 or whatever days of my life, every day it gets dark, and tomorrow it's going to get dark sometime. I know this. So as an RP, I get to be prepared. I know it's going to get dark. So what do I need? I need a flashlight or 3 with me at all times. I know I'll be walking somewhere. So make sure I have a cane with me at all times. And today in Sedona, it's cloudy with, chance of rain throughout the day. If I go out, make sure I have a jacket with me. I just need to be aware of what's coming up in my day so that I'm prepared. Now, AwareWolf came about because when I'm not prepared and the sun goes down and it gets dark, I turn into a jerk and I start lashing out. I'm not prepared. I'm not ready. This isn't my environment. I turn into, a werewolf. It gets dark, nighttime, turn into a wolf, bite everybody. But with a little bit of preparation, I'm now an AwareWolf.
As a warning, what Dave meant was he doesn't literally bite everybody.
Well, ask my friends. I refer to it as the fear. When I need something and I don't have it, when I'm not in my environment, I do get the fear. Mm-hmm. And this just helps keep the fear at bay, knowing that I can walk safely, or if I need light, I've got light. I'm ready for anything. I'd love to take us down memory lane to a very pivotal day where everything came together. The AwareWolf Gear, the ATC, how this pebble kicked to form an avalanche. My wife and I moved to Sedona back in 2016, and I was aware that my vision was really circling the drain the first few years we were here. So in around 2018, I reached out to the state and was receiving O&M training, and I had a taste of what the cane can do. I like it, but I don't. I feel safe, but vulnerable, but I see its potential. Now, one late afternoon, my wife and I were hiking up in the village of Oak Creek, and we were hiking between Bell Rock and Courthouse Butte. And these are two very well-known large red rock structures. And the sun dipped below the mountain range, and I suddenly lost everything. I lost depth perception, the shadows, direct light, contrast, and I started losing my footing, stumbling, falling, tripping. I started reciting apparently some beautiful poetry at this point, where my wife ended up stopping, turned around and said, look, what's the problem? We're in the most beautiful place in the world. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful weather. What is the problem? What is generating this noise back there? And I said, I can't do this. I don't belong here. I can't see. I don't have depth perception. There's no more contrast. I don't belong here. And I need something. I need this, but I don't know what this is. And when I said this, what I was doing is basically simulating with my right arm, caning, aggressively caning on the trail, trying to identify these rocks. And that really was the beginning of this all. I discovered a problem. I need something that wasn't available. And the next day I was at Canyon Outfitters asking where their blind hiking section was. And there wasn't any. Right. Well, he took me to the flashlights. So I said, well, where are your blind hiking canes? And he took me to the trekking pole section. So that's where it began. I started with a set of trekking poles, utility knife, duct tape, and just went to town and started creating to the workbench. And what do I need? This grip isn't working. What do I need for a grip? So after, breaking that cane apart and rebuilding, I had Mark I in my hands. That's the beginning of the adventure of the all-terrain cane.
Dave, the grip, is it a section unto itself, and is it a thicker section of the cane?
It is, yes. Great question. The shaft itself is a 14 millimeter tubing. The grip is a 16-inch foam grip, and that is glued onto a 16 millimeter aluminum tube. All right. So this aluminum tube is able to slide over the 14 millimeter tube. I know I'm getting technical here, but to paint the picture, the 16-inch grip is able to slide independently, and you can adjust the length anywhere from 51 to 61 inches. Yeah, I did make it so that it's really adjustable to the user.
So that 10-inch adjustable piece is a slide up and down, not a fold.
That is correct. It is a slide with a flip lock. And that brings me to the 3 sections of the cane. My street cane, my fiberglass cane, is a 5-section, and it folds up nice and small. I'd like this to fold up nice and small, but the 16-inch grip is really important to me. So that sort of defined 3 sections. It didn't make any sense to go with 5 sections because it's still going to fold up to the length of the handle.
The longest piece, yeah.
Right. So I felt that with a cane, the joints are more likely than not the weaker link. So eliminate 2 joints. Now I have 2 joints, 3 sections, and it's super strong.
Now you got a flip lock on the handle to adjust that. You got a 10-inch range there from 51 to 61. What are the other 2 joints? Those are the stainless steel joints. Do those pull apart then?
I love this because this is going to solve all the problems of the blind community. I developed the cane so that it unfolds and folds the way we're used to. That is, it does have a bungee mechanism on the inside, and we just fold and unfold the way we usually do. It snaps into place just as we're familiar with. Again, I wanted to eliminate things we're not used to, but I wanted to give us a variable length cane. So I had to take a couple different concepts and morph them together to make a collapsible folding cane we're accustomed to, but extending.
I really like the work that you put into this. Now, AwareWolf Gear, you also have shirts there, and I like the different shirts that are available. I saw Lex Gillette on there. He's the Paralympian, the long jumper. And I think one of them has blind, blind, blind as it fades away to nothing.
Right.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun developing the line of shirts and then giving them names. Of course, I've got a couple of favorites, but AwareWolf Gear, interesting story behind the development of that. And that also came from that painful day on the trails. I was originally training for a guide dog. And my original O&M instructor told me, always keep left hand free for the dog. Now, there I was down in the main streets of Sedona practicing being blind for a dog. And how do we practice being blind? I'm not going to put a blindfold on, but let the cane do its job and let my eyes navigate to keep me as safe as I can. I got hit about 3 times practicing. And I thought, what does a blind guy have to do to keep safe around here? I needed something else. I used to be a surveyor in Boston with the bright green and reflective jackets and shirts and hard hats. Out on the trails and out here in Sedona, I don't want to look like a traffic cone. I want to be bright enough that people can recognize me, but I'm missing something. Everybody's bright. Everybody's got bright green shirts on. What's going to separate me from them? And I thought, well, blind. I took my original cane down to Main Street, Sedona, and felt very vulnerable. Now everybody knows I'm blind until I got over it. And now I come up with this idea, put the word blind on a shirt so people can see that I might not be able to identify that they're approaching me, avoiding that awkward conversation before it happens. So put the word blind on or not, have high contrast colors, high density inks to give that tactile feel and high contrast. Just it gives the world awareness that there is a community here that may not look blind. We see blind, but we don't look blind. Again, it helps avoid that awkward conversation, gives us a little bit of visibility out on the streets and on the trails.
Is one of them called Going, Going, Gone?
Going, 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 gone, right. Or going, 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 blind. Yep, that's the three blinds with a fade, right.
They're all described really cool in a cool way on the site.
I like that. So AwareWolfGear.com is where they can find the all-terrain cane as well as all your shirts on the website. And Dave, I really appreciate all that you've done for the blindness community in this. Yourself, through your experiences and your passion for hiking is really what drove and your selfishness. I don't want to leave that out.
No, of course not.
But that's exactly what it takes sometimes to persevere with something. And I'm glad you're sharing with everyone else and making it available to them.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. When I discovered that this is a game changer for me, I couldn't keep it. We kid around about car doors, but there are countries, many, many developing countries on this planet of ours that people don't have the ability to deal with a broken cane or a bend and now it's unusable. Mm-hmm. These are going to withstand car doors. Going back to the crash testing, I do have videos of me taking a section of this cane, a 40 centimeter section, suspending it on 2 bricks and standing on it.
Oh, wow.
These are the things I needed to do to make sure a car door isn't going to break it.
Whoa. Well, Dave, Pete and I want to help you climb Sedona Hills and shout from the top of it about your AwareWolfGear.com, because I think it's something that there's a large section of people out there that would be interested in something off-road.
There you go.
It'll take us where we want to be. And I think as a blind person, that opens up so many avenues, because I talk about the fear. I remember the fear when I was diagnosed and the fear of losing my driver's license and the fear of continually breaking things in the kitchen. These are the people I want to address. People who've just been recently diagnosed or involved in a car accident or any other kind of TBI that they suddenly realize that they're blind or going blind and have no idea of what the future holds. Not just in careers, what can I do now, but what can I do? Can I go to the beaches anymore? Can I hike? Can I go to the playgrounds? What are my limitations? And to me, having the right tool solves the problem. As long as we have orientation and mobility training and know, the basics of what a cane can do, there's no reason why we can't be detecting obstacles out in the backcountry.
Yeah. Adding some support, some safety and confidence in the process.
Absolutely.
You're opening up the possibilities.
Oh, yeah.
Confidence is a huge word. Empowerment, confidence, ultimately heading towards outdoorsmanship, taking the outdoors and seizing the opportunities.
Well, thanks a million, Dave, for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Dave Epstein. As you can hear, Dave is a dynamic and passionate advocate for blindness in a special way, in a selfish way that he admits to.
Mm-hmm. Even his dog agrees. See that?
Exactly right there.
You heard that.
I think he's calling you all the other names people call you too.
And I'm guessing that that poetry you talked about on that walk with your wife was
4-letter.
Beautiful iambic pentameters. Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, thanks, Dave. We will talk soon. And thanks again for coming on Blind Abilities.
Thank you so much for the opportunities, gentlemen. It was a great pleasure. And see you out on the trails.
This concludes our chat with Dave Epstein, founder of AwareWolfGear.com and the All-Terrain Cane. Be sure to check out information on all of his gear at his website. That's www.AWareWolfGear.com. And be sure to place your order for the All-Terrain Cane. As always, for more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on our website at www.blindabilities.com. We want to thank Chi-Chow for his fantastic music. But most of all, our special thanks go to all of you. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.
When we share what we see through
each other's eyes,
we can then begin to bridge the gap between the limited
expectations
and the reality
of blind abilities.
and the realities of blind abilities.